Vince, you want to just roll into some rapid fire?
Oh, let's go, baby.
I mean, I feel like people are like they're itchy, they're antsy. They want the Jaden Mickey talk, is what they want, and I don't blame you.
Let's do it.
Jaden Mickey, I guess he didn't make the announcement today, but he is going to enter the transfer portal. He's played his 4 games, which means he can redshirt this season. That he's going to enter the transfer portal when it opens up in December. Here's Marcus Freeman.
I think everybody's going to have an opinion, and myself included, right? But it's not our opinion that really matters, right? Jaden Mickey made a decision that he felt was best for him. So for me to do anything other than support him, it's selfish. I'm not in his shoes, right? I don't know what's going on in his life, and this is what he said is best for him in his future. And so it would be selfish of me to have selfish thoughts and opinions about the decision he's making. I wish him best of luck. I love him. He's a great young man that's been through a lot, and will continue. He'll go and do great things. But it's not our position or anybody else's to make an opinion about what type of decision Jaden Mickey made. It's a decision that he wanted to make for him, and I support him in his next endeavors.
So there's Marcus Freeman, and as USMA 87 said, he posted on Twitter X this morning. Apparently, Mickey did. What do you think about the decision, Vince?
I was a little bit surprised, but I understand where he's coming from. I mean, at this point in the year, you've got to make a decision. They played 4 games. He's played in all 4 of those games. If he plays one more, he loses the year. And frankly, I'm sure he was upset he wasn't playing more. I mean, that's the bottom line. And the 2 freshmen that are on the roster are really freaking good too. And so there's no guarantees that he would step into a starting position next year either. And so I'm guessing, and this is my speculation, I'm guessing that he saw next year he's probably going to be in a similar role as he was this year. He could go literally almost anywhere and be a starter because that's how talented this secondary is. And right now he's the 3rd corner, and next year he might have been the 3rd corner again. And so he wants to be a dude. Okay, man. Hey, you know what? Marcus Freeman is absolutely right. This kid has been through hell and back off the field, and he has come out of it as a great young man with a positive outlook and everything else. He's exactly who you want, your friends to hang out with, your daughters to date, and all of those cliches. They're all accurate and they're all true, but he wants to go be a guy on the field. And I don't think that was going to happen at Notre Dame. I think that's the bottom line. So yeah, you leave your team in a lurch a little bit, but at the same time, you're doing what's best for you. I can't really be all that upset with him.
I'll say this because I was trying to find some information on Jaden Mickey, and they've already removed him from the roster on Notre Dame's website. I don't like it when they do that because, okay, he's not on the team anymore, but he started the season on the team, so he was part of the roster.
Yeah.
So even though he maybe didn't finish the season with the team, he was still on the team this year, and people are still going to be looking for information, so you can Google his name, to find out the pertinent information, but he's going to have a couple of seasons left. He's going to get a chance to be, he wants to go have a chance to be a starter someplace. He's getting playing time out there, not what he wanted it to be. He and Leonard Moore were essentially getting about the same playing time, and the writing starts to be on the wall.
Sure.
Obviously. And the guy, there was some talk in the offseason about whether or not Jaden Mickey would stick around. And they were fortunate that he did. Unfortunately for him, he kind of turned out to be more of a depth piece. And I mean, that was from Notre Dame's perspective, getting him to stay just to this point was big, because at the time you didn't know what Benjamin Morrison's health was going to be like completely. You didn't know that Benjamin Morrison was going to be healthy, but even now, the numbers are going to be thin, and that'll be the biggest question I think that we have about the secondary. But yeah, I mean, for Mickey, I don't think it comes as a complete shock. He basically made a business decision.
Yeah.
That's what it came down to.
Well, and you don't see kids making this decision 10 years ago. Obviously, once you start the season, you're there, and it is what it is. But now, when kids are looking at transferring, and the word transfer isn't, it's not looked down upon anymore. It just is what it is. Kids transfer all the time, and he's like, "Look, I'm going to transfer. I want all the time that I can get, and so I'm going to sit out the rest of the year." Like Notre Dame didn't waste any time either. He's not even on the roster anymore. So, like
Exactly.
on the online roster, because I was looking, somebody asked.
That's what I was just saying.
If he was an East Coast kid, it's like I can't even find him. I had to go back to last year's roster. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, look, it stinks for this year's depth. There's no doubt about it. I know that they're really excited about the class that they've got coming in of corners, and they're really excited about the current class that's here as freshmen. And obviously, Gray is really, really good. And so it could, if there are injuries, that is when you will see this rear its ugly head. If there are no injuries this season, then everything will be just fine.
Injuries, and then what happens when you get to the end of the year, whether it's playoff or bowl or whatever else. So then the other side of this it does mean more opportunities for Leonard Moore and Karson Hobbs, the two freshmen.
It will increase Leonard Moore's role. It will increase Karson Hobbs' role. And that's why you got to continue to have depth. And so those two guys are definitely capable of getting the job done. And, I still feel strongly about the depth of the quarterbacks room. Rod Hurd has played corner before. Jordan Clark has played corner. So, if injuries occur in the future, we have plans, but I think the depth in that room right now just gives an opportunity for those younger guys to play some more.
I mean, again, like in terms of the front end starters, I think we've all got 100% confidence in Christian Gray and Benjamin Morrison.
Oh,
and even in these guys that he's talking about there, the freshmen as well. As a group, are you pretty confident going forward with no Jaden Mickey?
Like I said, as long as there's no injuries, yes, I'm very confident. I think those other two guys can rotate in and take some time off of those other two guys, and they're going to get some invaluable, playing time. There's no doubt about that, right? And Leonard Moore has been really, really good this year. And we saw a little bit of Karson Hobbs should have had a pick in the last game, right? So I am not worried at all. It's the depth in numbers, not necessarily the depth in talent. The depth in talent, I'm very confident. It's the depth in numbers. If somebody gets hurt, now you got two scholarship, corners. You got four basically, right? You got four scholarship corners in the room. Two play and two are going to rotate. Somebody gets hurt, now you're hurting. That's the problem.
Exactly. I mean, it's a really good, and like Hurd has played corner, Jordan Clark has played some corner. So in a pinch, you could do that. It would not be your optimal situation if you had to, but you could do that.
Right.
If it came
That's
down
true.
to it.
That's true. Then you're kind of looking at, just kind of a duct tape put together, secondary, because they do have to be replaced at their positions as well. And, so like you're robbing Peter to pay Paul, and then it gets ugly at that point. But I agree with you. That is something that they could do.
Spark 5219 made this comment when we were talking about Leonard and the quarterbacks and everything. He said he's more concerned about the fumbles than the quarterback. All those fumbles in one game were, they did seem to come out of nowhere, because Notre Dame, for the most part, has taken pretty good care of the football this season. The fact that you had, all of that happen in one game was a little bit crazy. So I'm not gonna now. Obviously, you see it again, especially against a better opponent this weekend. With in Louisville, then your alarm bells are really going off. Jordan Faison, to me, like he never like watching him take those plays. He didn't look completely comfortable back there.
Well, you can't stick your arms out like that to catch a punt, obviously, and you have to be fearless, and you can't worry about all the noise around you. You've got to just go and catch the punt. They can't touch you, and if they do, there's going to be a penalty, and you're going to be fine. Like, you have to be able to block out all the physical noise that's around you. You can't stand there and kind of just reach your hands out, because you're never going to be able to catch a punt that way. So he's got to get better, getting under the ball with his body, elbows together, all the coaching points. He didn't do any of that in that particular instance, and it showed. and it was bad. And against a better team, that loses you a football game. Can't do that, So hopefully they figured it out and they learn. And because I do really like Faison as a punt returner, but you can't have turnovers like that. You just can't.
No, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. And we were talking about, when I said that I was expecting more the Angeli stands to kind of come out. Steven says, coming off Riley Leonard's best game, so it's to be expected there's less noise. It's funny because that's, again, maybe I'm just looking too specifically at some of the comments that were coming out this weekend. It seemed like there was a lot more lingering concern about Leonard, rather than that was his best game. Because I would probably consider, even though he threw the touchdown pass, so maybe that weighs on people a little bit. But I kind of considered Purdue the best game that we had, overall game that we had seen from him so far.
I mean,
so
they're both right up there. I think people, like Steven, for example, think that, the fact that he threw the ball down the field makes it his best game.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Yeah. And it, maybe like I said, it's progress, right? That's all you can ask for at this point, is that he makes some kind of progress. And he made, I thought, considerable progress along those lines with those deep throws. Because again, those are throws that you have to, if you're going to be as run heavy a team, because someone was talking about where they rank, so high as a rushing offense, but so low as a passing offense, you at the very least have to be able to hit timely passes if you're Riley Leonard.
Absolutely. 100% correct. And I think, he's shown that he has the ability to do it. Now we just need to see it on a consistent basis, and we need to see him going through the reads and doing all of those things and all the little stuff that we talked about last night. So I'm not going to, rehash it, but yes, progress was made. There's no doubt about it. Progress was made. If he played the same way that he played the first 2 or 3 drives the rest of the game, we're having a completely different conversation.
Yep.
But that's not what took place. So you have to take the game as a whole. I'm sure all the people that left after the first quarter have their opinion about how the game went. But, I watched the entire game, Sean, as you did. And so you got to take the entire game for your body of work that you can analyze, not just a quarter.
Fill in the blank. Notre Dame announcing the creation of Rally, which is a new collective formed to create commercial name, image, and likeness opportunities for student athletes, is blank.
Appropriate, I guess. I mean, they want to run all of the NIL stuff for Notre Dame through Notre Dame, essentially. They want to kind of be in control of it, and they want to, guide and help and all of that. I would want to know more about it to see how big brotherish it is for these kids, or are they going out and actively seeking out NIL opportunities for these athletes? You know what I mean? Or are they, how are they managing these athletes? I think it's good to have something like this in place. And it sounds like they have a board of directors of people that are in that space and have been, are popular and familiar names and things like that. I think it's great. I think it's a really good thing.
Tom's answers is pretty good marketing, because they announced this thing. They send out an email this morning, and then Marcus Freeman shows up, with his newest little quarter zip blue pullover. And what's it say on the front? Rally. It's got Rally right on the front. So he's out there marketing this thing already. Look, it's a continuous step in the right direction. Notre Dame is showing that they're not going to fall behind the pack when it comes to NIL, maybe they got off to a bit of a slow start when NIL began, but I think that they've done a really good job of catching up and keeping up. And they're obviously really big NIL opportunities. Rally is led by Board of Directors Chairman Jack Shields and board members Gayla Compton, Jordan Cornett, of course, former Notre Dame basketball player and member of the media. I guess he's with NBC now, right? Matt Moran, Kevin O'Connor, and Hannah Storm.
Yeah, Hannah Storm.
83 grad from ESPN. Hannah Storm, part of it as well. So, swinging some big sticks.
I like it. I like it.
I was wondering who the names were going to, like, whenever you hear these things, you just want you want a little more information, right? Because like there's still questions about how exactly it's going to work, and it feels like they don't necessarily want you to know all those.
Yeah, they keep
kind
it
of
nice
things.
and vague for a reason, I
Yeah,
think.
exactly.
And yeah,
Exactly.
which is why I said the thing about Big Brother. You know what I mean? Like how, what's the oversight like, and all of those different things. I would be curious to know, but at the same time, look, these kids are getting paid now, and there's and I'm not even talking about football and basketball, but like the other sports. If they're making ways for those guys to get paid, then that's awesome, because there's probably a lot of schools out there in the SEC and other places where those sports probably aren't getting a lot of NIL money. You know what I mean? And I think Notre Dame does a good job of kind of spreading the wealth a little bit.
By the way, this week's game is on Peacock. A little public service announcement for those who maybe didn't remember or didn't know. It is on Peacock only, no NBC. John says he's not paying for Peacock. He's watching the game at the bar. Well, you'll be watching it on Peacock then at the bar, but
right,
you just won't be paying.
And you'll probably be paying for beer that paid for the Peacock. So just throwing that out there.
It's a good point. Like you buy a beer, you probably, because I think you can get the Peacock subscription for less than $10 a month or something like that.
It's $7.99, and you can cancel it as soon as you're done. So
there you go. Most beers are going to cost you more than $8.
I mean, at the end of the day, that's what we're talking about. Like, it's okay, guys. You can get over it. You can cancel it when you're done, and there you go. It is what it. I watch all my sports on streaming, so it means nothing to me. Like, I could care less. It's the same broadcast. It's on the NBC.
The only thing that bugs me is like if I watch a game on my regular TV, I've got direct TV. I can hit pause, I can walk away, I can forward through commercials, I can do all those things. When you're watching games on streaming, I know that there are, like forward and reverse functions, but they're not nearly as functional as like a DVR remote. Like you can control exactly where you want to start and stop better with the DVR
Interesting.
remote. In the experience that I've got anyway, doing
I
any
watched this past game. I watched it on Fubo, right? And I started watching the game at probably 4:30. And so I just went to the beginning of the game, and I was fast forwarding through commercials, and it was great. And I finally caught up and got to my game ended when your guys' game ended, essentially. I caught up by the end of the game, and I thought it was pretty smooth.
What kind of remote you got over there? What are you using?
My finger. Because I was watching it on my iPad in the car.
Oh, okay. Big difference.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So it's basically like you're watching a YouTube video.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, when I do it at home, it's just a little Roku remote. And so forward is like 15 seconds, when you click it multiple times for multiple 15 seconds, that kind of a thing. So,
yeah.
And most commercial breaks are 3 minutes. So, he's got to know how many clicks that is, right? That's 12 clicks. And you get right where you need to be.
See, I don't get clicks. I don't like, maybe it's my remote, but they came with the TVs, but it's the remote that I've got for streaming.
Oh, yeah.
So,
gotcha.
It's got like a little circle and you kind of, I don't know. Fill in the blank. Northern Illinois losing to Buffalo is blank.
Typical. I mean, of course they did. They've been riding high for 2 weeks. They had a bye after the Notre Dame game, and they rode this win, I mean, like a Bronco till it bucked them. You know what I mean? And it bucked them against Buffalo. That's basically what happened, and they were probably still basking. I guarantee you, and I obviously wasn't there. It was a home game, by the way, for Northern Illinois. I'm sure they showed a highlight video on the big screen. They probably were talking about the Notre Dame game, and then they lost.
All
and I'm
fans
not
are worked up about the Notre Dame game. Yep.
Absolutely. And then they lost, and it is what it is. It doesn't matter. I mean, look, you got beat by Northern Illinois. They're not even the best team in the MAC. Okay. I mean, it doesn't matter what Northern Illinois does. It's not going to help you.
Everyone could just move on from it.
Yeah.
Now it's a bad loss for Notre Dame, and it's just another loss for Northern Illinois. I wish I could say it was unexpected, but I've said all along, I felt like Northern Illinois is probably going to be like at least a 3-loss team this year. I think we were talking about it on Countdown last week, and Jesse made a good point about it. Like you look at the MAC and like all those teams have equal talent. And that's why you very rarely, like there might be one team that kind of runs through most of them and ends up with 1 or 2 losses or something. But that's why you see so many teams with all these losses, because the talent is so close. And
and the MAC isn't one of the better.
I didn't feel like watching that team like, wow, that is going to be a dominant MAC team.
Right. Look, the MAC is not one of the better group of 5 conferences out there. They're just not. And that's okay. I think Toledo is probably the best MAC team. And I feel like they've kind of made a statement already. We'll see if they can continue making said statements. But yeah, at the end of the day, the MAC is not one of the better group of 5 conferences. They're just not. And so you're generally not going to see a MAC team be the representative of the group of 5 teams in the playoff. That will not happen very often.
A good point, Stephen. He says he's less worried about Northern Illinois looking bad than Texas A&M and USC looking bad.
Yeah, that loss for USC was not great for them, and I'm just hoping Texas A&M continues to win.
Let's just jump into that. Which result surprised you more? Illinois beating Nebraska or Michigan beating Southern Cal?
I'm pretty sure I picked both of those games incorrectly, so they were both a bit surprising. I guess the most surprising.
Did we pick Illinois, Nebraska in our picks?
I thought we did. Maybe we didn't. I don't know. I would have picked Nebraska.
I didn't think we did, but
I think I would have picked Nebraska.
I did pick Nebraska if we did. I know that.
Yeah, I would have as well. So I'm actually more surprised about the Michigan win. I really expected USC to kind of go in there, throw the ball all over the yard, and I didn't expect, Michigan's offense to be able to do much against USC's defense. I've been told that the USC defense is so much better this year, and apparently they couldn't stop the run in this game. They stopped the pass because Michigan had 32 pass yards, Sean. And if anybody is upset about Riley Leonard, they, I guess, should be happy they're not a Michigan fan, I guess, with their quarterback situation. But 32 yards, and they won the game. So I guess you know how to beat Michigan. You just got to stop the run, which USC couldn't do. I'm more surprised about Michigan for sure.
I am as well, because I just really didn't think Michigan had much offense. Not that USC's defense was really going to be that great, but based on maybe Texas is just that good. I just didn't know if Michigan was going to be able to score, but it turned out that USC was the team that really wasn't able to score. So that did surprise me. So it just kind of throws another wrench and, question mark into what is this schedule that Notre Dame is going to see this year. Like as Notre Dame goes week to week, you might not be able to bank on a whole lot, but at the same time, I think we're back to, man, how really good is this schedule that Notre Dame is going to see this season. The Illinois thing, I was mildly surprised, but Nebraska at the end of the day is still Nebraska. It doesn't matter who the coach is or what year he's in. They still lose these close games. And that was the 400th consecutive sellout crowd at Nebraska. 400 consecutive sellouts. Think about how long, like you think you've got it bad as a Notre Dame fan. Think how long Nebraska has been down now. And they've been selling that place out game after game, 400 consecutive games. Like, how many years is that, Vince?
400
how many years is that?
400. It's like 400 divided. It would be 400 divided by like an average
7?
of 7. Yeah, so 57 years.
57 years. That is almost as long as I have been alive.
Oh, that's great.
They've been selling that sucker out, and they had a lot of good years when old Tom Osborne was there, but things have changed quite a bit. And they just, like I said, they just find a way to lose these close games, no matter. And how about Brett Bielema getting that thing turned around?
Yeah, no doubt.
At Illinois, maybe Illinois could make a little noise this year. Who knows? I don't think they're going to be a playoff team type year, but still, that's a good win for Illinois. Anytime you can beat Nebraska. Fill in the blank. Notre Dame home game atmosphere has been blank.
Normal. Not surprising, I guess. Like any one of those kinds of adjectives that you can come up with is how I feel about the home game atmosphere. It's never good against lower opponents ever, and it's semi good against good opponents. Like I said, against the big teams at night, it seems to be a little bit more raucous, and I probably shouldn't even use the word raucous. It's louder. Brian likes to watch the beginning of the home games out on the terrace so he can kind of get a feel for the crowd and all of those different things. And I've gone out there with him on the big games, and it's loud. It's a great atmosphere.
The big games.
The big games. But
like so far this year, I realize they're MAC opponents and all that stuff, but it's been pretty disappointing, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's been very disappointing.
Absolutely fair, yeah.
What we've seen from the whole, like you're shelling out all that money. You're out there, whether it's hot or cold or whatever. Like people were talking about, well, it was hot, and
okay. Then
Leonard was throwing incomplete passes. Like I said, you're gonna boo your quarterback. How about spending some energy, like making it actually hard for the opposing offense to hear their, the count, the snap count, everything else.
Right.
Make it actual a home field advantage. You shouldn't have to be, like 7:30 kickoff and, completely lubed up by the end of the night to get out there and make some noise at home. Come on.
Agreed.
Maybe they'll be a little bit more fired up this weekend. Everyone's wound up about Louisville already. So
I know, right?
I hope so. So we're back to 2 Monday Night Football games tonight. We got Jacksonville, Buffalo at 7:30, Washington, Cincinnati at 8:15. Do you like having 2 games on at one time on Monday night?
I don't mind having an option as to what to watch, but I still kind of like when they used to do the doubleheader, where they'd have one start early and then one would obviously be late. It'd be more of a West Coast game. But I like the doubleheader action as opposed to having to choose which one to watch.
Yeah, I think that I would like this more if they were actually 2 games I was interested in.
Well, 100%, yeah.
The fact that you've got Jacksonville and Buffalo, I'll probably tune into that just a little bit to see what Josh Allen's got going on. But,
Sure.
Washington, Cincinnati, that's rough. It just does not catch my interest.
No.
At all.
Nope.
At all. So it's like, we're going to put 2 games on, and maybe together they'll make one good game.
Yeah. I don't really have a desire to watch either game. I might throw one on depending, but I just might be hitting the streaming services tonight and jumping into, a couple of series that I've got working right now. Like that's how exciting those particular games are to me right now.
Yeah. I'm kind of in the same boat. I'm not excited. The double headers, it's, I guess the good thing about having them on at the same time is, again, like if you're going to watch and the first game turns into a stinker, you can just always flip over to the other game and you got that on. So I guess that's the biggest benefit.
Yep.
All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for tonight, Vince. I've got at least one guest on tomorrow's show, possibly 2.
Ooh.
He'll be live, by the way, and a special co-host on tomorrow's show as well.
Oh boy,
Jesse's got the new job percolating
right
this week, so he's got new job responsibilities and all that kind of stuff. So, special guest co-host on tomorrow's show.
I don't even know who it is.
I know.
Love it.
I'm not going to tell you when we end the show either.
Ooh, you're going to make me watch.
That's right.
See how it is. I'll be at a cross-country meet getting my miles in tomorrow. So no one told me when no one told me when my daughter joined cross-country that I also have to run, like from spot to spot, like cheering them on and stuff like that.
Oh, you got to
move.
Yeah.
You got to move.
Do you hand out the water?
Oh, gosh, no. No, I'm just like, come on, let's go. I'm the annoying loud guy. But, like, I try to go to various spots in the race, and then you wait for them to show up. And then hey, go get that girl in front of you. Go get that, that kind of. And then you go to the next spot. And all right. So there's a lot of running. I get a lot of crap from people because I'm just sprinting from spot to spot.
Hey, you're getting your exercise in.
I'm telling you, man.
They shouldn't be giving you crap. Come on.
Love it. The AD just loves to give me a hard time about it. He's like, I just saw this flash of D'Addario going by me. I didn't know what was happening. So, yeah, it's pretty funny. I'll have to say, I have a video I got to send you that you'll get a kick out of. My son thinks it's hilarious, too. He recorded me running from one spot to the next last weekend and had, like, commentary behind it.
Oh, boy.
That was 17-year-old thinks he's hilarious. I'll tell you what.
It's gold. All right.
It's gold, Jerry. It's gold.
We will wrap it up. Hit the like button before you leave, and we will talk to you tomorrow on IB Nation Sports Talk.